All righty. Let's welcome in Ross Tucker, 95.7 The Game's Odyssey NFL insider. Generally a good guy. What's up, man? How you doing?
I'm doing awesome. How are you guys doing? Anything to talk about out there?
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, I'll tell you what, and I'll just read the latest. I don't know if you know it or not. It's come in the last few minutes. Doctors have concluded that Jimmy Garoppolo doesn't need foot surgery, and it's not a Liz Frank injury. And if rehab goes smoothly, he could return in 7 or 8 weeks, making him a potential playoff contributor in the second playoff game or maybe the NFC title game.
Yeah, they're not doing that at that point. I mean,
that's what I said.
What if they're stumped? What if they back in?
Unless Purdy is playing terrible in the game and they bench him, they're not going to oh, hey, we're doing great. We won our first playoff game. We're in the divisional round. Oh, Jimmy, you're healed? Okay, you're back in there. They're not doing that.
Maybe they win. Maybe they only won that first week, Ross, 6-3. And Purdy threw 3 picks, but the defense bailed him out. Mm-hmm. What do you think?
No.
Yeah, Ross.
They're not doing that unless Purdy plays terrible. I mean, to have a guy after 2 months come out there, not great.
Right, and then the fact that there may be rust, obviously the rust factor, Ross, why would you even, if that took an interception or a fumble, why would you even risk that? That's what I'm saying, and I'm catching hell for it. Let me ask you this. We just had the great Jesse Sapolo on, and I've been fixated on the O-line because we saw in the Saints game Jimmy taking hits. Unfortunately, he's out. But as an offensive lineman, a former offensive lineman, how hard is it for these guys to adjust to learn what Brock likes to do and what he doesn't like to do? How does that work?
Well, what do you mean? Say that again.
You good, Goo? He wants you to repeat the question. He wants you to repeat the question, Goo.
No, I was being a jerk. Listen, now that you got a new quarterback, we get fixated on the quarterback and his job. How hard is it for guys like you, offensive linemen, Ross, to adjust to the quarterback and what he likes to do?
Oh, yeah. Not that hard. It's probably more difficult to adjust to the snap count and the cadence as much as anything else. I don't really think he's going to just run Kyle's offense. It's not going to really be any different than what Jimmy did. I wouldn't expect it to be very different. I think it's going to be very, very similar. I think what's different, Guru, is that they're going to throw a lot more at him. I mean, the next few weeks, they're going to throw the kitchen sink at him because he's young and he hasn't seen a lot, even though I could swear he played for 10 years at Iowa State. I'm convinced he played for 10 years or something at Iowa State. He was there forever. But they're still going to see exactly a lot of different things from people throwing blitzes, coverages. Everybody's going to test him each week now to try to figure out what he doesn't do well. And then once somebody finds it, they'll keep doing that until he fixes it.
Ross Tucker joining us on 95.7 The Game. Ross, give me like a estimate of what you considered the 49ers in terms of a Super Bowl contender with Jimmy Garoppolo, and now what you consider the 49ers as a Super Bowl contender with Brock Purdy.
It's a good question. Off the top of my head, I would have thought Eagles, I don't know, because they're likely to have the number one seed and home field advantage, only have to play 2 games. I probably would have said Eagles 50% chance to go to the Super Bowl.
Right.
And then Cowboys and Niners 25% each. I don't really envision the Vikings having much of a chance or the Bucks or anybody else. Now I would say Niners are more 5%.
Yeah.
Cowboys more 40%. And I kind of liked Purdy, and I thought he looked good the other day. But, say it out loud. Say it out loud. Brock Purdy wins 3 playoff games.
Man.
including 2 on the road, for the San Francisco 49ers to get to the Super Bowl. It just doesn't sound right. I mean, look, it'd be an amazing story. I'd be thrilled for that kid, but I don't. It just seems like it makes it a lot less likely.
Ross, we got a saying on the show, put the rat on the table, and that's when something needs to be addressed. And all season long, you've joined us, and we laughed and scoffed at this quarterback situation and how lucky Kyle and the Niners were to have Jimmy be there to even save them. I got to go here. Do you think he's played his last down as a Niner?
Yes, I do. Yeah. Now I do. Because the only way he was going to come back, I felt like, was if they went to the Super Bowl or won it or whatever. That's not going to happen now. He's very injury prone. It's unfortunate. It's happened a lot. But I'd be surprised if Jimmy Garoppolo ever plays another snap for the San Francisco 49ers.
Yeah, there's financial, obviously, considerations too. Ross Tucker joining us on 95.7 The Game. He joins us every Tuesday at 1:30. Let me ask you this, Ross, and that's what it comes down to for me. Is I was imagining Minnesota, the Eagles, and Dallas, hearing that Jimmy Garoppolo got hurt and he's done for the year. None of those teams believe the Niners got better. And there's a feeling out here among some. They think that Brock Purdy could get done very easily when Jimmy Garoppolo gets done.
Brock Purdy reminds me a lot of Nick Mullins or TJ Beathard in the sense that I can totally see him doing some positive things. I still think they got a great chance to win the division. Wouldn't shock me at all if they won a playoff game. But, man, that's asking a lot.
Yeah.
For him to be able to win multiple playoff games and get them, multiple playoff games on the road and get them to the Super Bowl, which is just it's a shame. A lot of people were starting to talk about the Niners like they were the favorite.
Yeah, I was one of them, Ross. I was telling you, I was just something about Dak, something about McCarthy. I didn't know if Hurts was battle-tested, but I'm with you, and history is not on the Niners side. Let me ask you this. Micah Parsons, I know he's great, but Bosa has just here recently been great as well. If you had a vote, and I know there's 5 weeks left, where you leaning when you talk about Defensive Player of the Year between those two?
I think it's really close. Really close. I think Micah Parsons is the best defensive player. I don't know that he's having the best season. A lot of it relates to how they use him in Dallas. I mean, he played a game against the Packers where he was an off-the-ball linebacker the whole time. So a lot of it depends on how he's used. I think the fact that they can use him in different ways is part of the reason why he's the best defensive player. But I know with awards like this, how you finish means a lot. So even if those guys are even right now or close to it, these next 4 or 5 weeks are going to really tell the tale of who should end up winning that award. It does feel like it's between those two guys, and I wouldn't have a problem with either one of them. I mean, Bosa is so good.
Man.
Micah Parsons is ridiculous. I don't have any problem with either one of those guys.
Ross Tucker joining us. Hey, before I let you go, what happened to your high school team in the state final?
Uh-oh.
Steiny. We weren't supposed to talk about this.
I mean,
he's smiling now too.
I'm gonna be honest with you, Ross. Why missing where Ross went to high school? They lost in the state championship game on the last play on a bomb.
I was supposed to ask.
Bob Wolfram, the head coach, who I covered when I was out of college 30 years ago. Hey, what a class act. Dead serious, Ross. There was no sour grapes. I read the quotes on that game and everything, and he was just like, hey, it happens.
You okay, Ross?
Yeah. He's amazing. What's that?
I said, you okay with with that ale? Have you recovered?
Eventually I will.
Oh.
Where we're from, high school football is really important. And here's the thing, in all sincerity, right? Like, I work in the college football and NFL world, so I can't really be a fan. So that's
Right.
like where I can really be a fan. Like, I watch every game online. And I know partially it's my fault because it was the only week where I didn't have a game. So my wife talked me into going to a Broadway show in New York. So I didn't watch the second half. So I didn't even see it as it happened, Steiny. And I've been trying to get over it, and this didn't help.
All right, I'm sorry, buddy.
But I do appreciate what you said very much about Coach Wolfram because it's true.
Oh, he was great to deal with, and I was 25 at the time, you know. So, all right, man, we'll catch up with you next week, man.
See you, dude.